In today's video, I'm going to be doing a deep clean, paint correction and ceramic coating on this 5-year-old Renault Megane. This is a car that you'll likely be seeing on the channel quite a bit over the next few years. So in this video, I'm going to be trying to turn back the clock and make this vehicle feel and look as new as possible. As always, I am using some products which have been sent to test out and some that I've purchased myself, all of which I'll be giving you my honest thoughts on throughout the video. I started on the wheels as usual, using Garage Therapy's Citrus at a roughly 1:20 dilution to give these wheels a pre-wash. In order to actually contact clean the wheels, I went in with Dodo Juice Deep Purple, which is a 2-in-1 wheel cleaner that has iron fallout removal capabilities, and also went for Yum Dress on the tyres. It looked like both the alloys and the tyres had been protected with something here, and it was likely to be with a product that contained a lot of silicone, leaving a bit of a nasty finish that was hard to remove. Moving on from the wheels, I went into the pre-wash. So here I opted for Garage Therapy's Decon shampoo, which can be used as a pre-wash as well, and it does pretty much every area of the car. As this vehicle had come from the dealership the day before, it wasn't in a bad way whatsoever, but a product like this just helps to kick off that decon process and to strip any protection that might be on there as much as I could. For the contact wash, I went for Garage Therapy's DMS shampoo, which is an acidic one, which serves a few benefits, including deep cleaning of ceramic coatings, and also what I'm using it for here, which is to help with the decon process by stripping any old waxes and sealants. It's not something that you would use on a regular basis. I typically don't use it more than every few months on my own car, which is ceramic coated, but it is a really handy product to have for these more specific circumstances. Continuing with the Decon process, I went in with Squid Inc's Ferrous Iron Fallout Remover. This car isn't the best at highlighting those iron particles reacting, however there was a considerable amount on this car, and it's likely that in the 5 years that it had been on the road, it had probably never been treated to this kind of product. There weren't too many tar spots on this car, but there were a few behind the wheels in particular, so here I opted for Yum's Tar and Glue Remover in order to quickly tackle those before moving on to the next stage. And the final part of the decon process was to clay the car. Now the condition of the paintwork wasn't too bad here considering the vehicle's age, so I opted for a clay mitt instead of a clay bar, as this typically causes slightly less marring and is a little bit quicker due to the larger surface area. I paired this up with Garage Therapy's Rinseless in an IK sprayer at around a 1:64 dilution. This just provides plenty of slip to the clay mitt to reduce the risk of marring as much as possible. It's not a huge concern here, as I was polishing the vehicle afterwards, but I don't like inflicting any more swirls or marring than I have to during this stage. Once I'd done with the claying process, I did rinse off the car again and then went around it with my drying towel. The next stage of the process was to inspect the paintwork. Now I was able to do this in direct sunlight the day before, so I could really see the kind of damage that I was dealing with, but I also did want to check the paint depth, so here I'm using my Next Diag Pro paint depth gauge, and on most of the vehicle I was getting readings of between 80 and 90 microns, so not a huge amount of paint, but definitely enough to be able to do what I wanted to do here. In order to really cut out the defects and maximise the gloss on this car, I went for a 2-stage correction. So this involved a heavy cutting stage using KCX H902 compound combined with one of their red foam pads, and then I followed up using their purple combination, which is their Ultra Cut pad and polish. I used this on my dual action polisher by Inter Detailing. This is their DA15 model, and then I also used my Carbon Collective Hex Mini polisher to access some of the more intricate areas. The paint on this Renault Megane is fairly middle of the road. I won't class it as particularly soft or hard, so this combination really did allow me to cut out the vast majority of defects and refine the gloss nice and easily. I was using Geon Prep in order to remove the polishing oil so I could properly inspect the condition of the paint. However, after that polishing stage, I do also like to go around the car again using this panel wipe solution in order to really prepare the car for that ceramic coating and make sure there are no oils or residues that are going to be interfering with that coating bonding. So to protect the glass, I went in with Soft 99's Glaco Ultra, which is the most durable one that I've tried, and I have tried quite a few of them. The water behaviour is really good, and it does have very good wiper resistance, so if you're looking for something that's going to last a good while, then this one is definitely worth considering. The glass was also prepared by polishing and using a panel wipe solution to ensure the coating could properly bond and that there weren't any streaks or smears that were going to interfere. The ceramic coating that I opted for on the paintwork is Decon Mose Evo. This is described as an outdoor friendly coating, but you do obviously have to use common sense. Don't apply it in direct sunlight or on a windy day where you're going to be getting debris floating onto the panel. And also the paintwork needs to be kept dry for 12 hours after application, so do keep an eye on the weather forecast and only apply it if you're pretty sure it's not going to rain during that period. The coating was a breeze to apply and I really did enjoy working with it. I just went for a single layer on this particular car. I spread it in a crosshatch pattern to a relatively small area as the coating does bond quite quickly, so the sign that you're looking for in order to proceed with the wipe off is that it will slightly bead up on the panel, and it is pretty easy to see this happening. On this day it was happening at around that 10 to 15 second mark, but it can be sort of up to 30 seconds depending on your conditions. So at that stage I go in with my short pile microfiber towel to remove that residue, and then I also like to wipe it with a plusher towel, going a little bit wider than the area that I've coated in order to make sure that there's no residue remaining. I do have a more in-depth video on this particular coating on my second channel, ACHQ Extra, which will show you the performance of it and give you a little bit more information on the application process and some tips to make sure it all goes smoothly if you are relatively new to coatings. There wasn't too much black plastic trimmed on this car, but I did want to protect what there was using Decon's trim. I have this on my own vehicle and it looks really nice so far. I am of course going to be monitoring the durability of this, as well as the paint ceramic coating on this vehicle, so I can provide you a little bit more of an update in future as to how it's performing. As I said towards the start of the video, I was having a bit of a hard time removing the greasy silicone dressing that was on these tyres, so in order to help with that, I went in with Yum's tar and residue remover. Not all tar and glue removers are really suitable for this, but this is one that is formulated to be used on surfaces like rubber, and it really did help to prepare the tyres for the dressing, which in this case I went for Yum Dress. This is a really nice one as it moisturises the sidewall and leaves a nice satin finish. I also wanted to do a bit more work on the interior of this car. Now obviously it had been valeted at the dealership prior to collection, however it wasn't quite up to the standard and it didn't have that new car feeling. So after a quick vacuum I deep cleaned the fabric seats using KCX Green Star at a roughly 1 to 10 dilution, and I gave that a scrub with my drill brush before extracting with my Nilfisk Buddy vacuum. I did a couple of passes on all the seats in order to make sure that they were nice and clean again, and as I expected, on that first pass in particular, the colour of the liquid coming out of these seats was far from clean. So this is absolutely worth doing if you are purchasing a vehicle second hand, as these fabric seats can really harbour a lot of dirt. I also used my Karcher SC3 steam cleaner in order to further deep clean some of the plastic areas and also give the footwells a bit of a refresh. On the plastic surfaces, I again went in with Green Star, but at a slightly higher dilution of 1:20, and combined that with an interior scrub pad and a few detailing brushes to make sure that the interior was spotless. I also used Gion leather cleaner on the steering wheel, again to provide that deeper clean, as there was that sheen to the leather, which indicates that there's a lot of oils and dirt on that surface, and it definitely didn't look clean. After I'd gone in with this product though, it was a nice matte, smooth finish and felt much like a new car again.